Hello, I'm going to give you guys a little overview on how to work out the equations that now have variables and constants on both sides. So this is just some tips and reminders for you, so hopefully it helps. All right, so some things to remember. What you do to one side of the equal sign, you have to do to the other side of the equal sign. You literally have to do the same thing to the other side. Okay, so always, every step. What you want to do is you want to get the variables or the value with the unknown on the left-hand side of the equal sign. Okay, your constant, which is anything without a variable or an unknown, you want to get to the right-hand side of your equal sign. All right, so each thing has, its own home. All right, now this here, if you have trouble remembering, which, until you kind of get it down solid, it's all good. So the inverse are opposite operations. I use the word inverse. Mr. Delastrato uses the word opposite. It means the same thing, okay? So if you're multiplying, the inverse or opposite of that is division, okay? If you're adding, the inverse or opposite of that is subtraction. Now, the other words we could use for this addition and subtraction is positive, negative, okay? Interchangeable words, positive, addition, negative, subtraction. It means the same thing, okay? So I would suggest you write those down on the top of your paper when you are working some of these problems out to make sure and have that as a reference to help you out, okay? So that's what we have on just some tips to get you started. Now here, I have a problem that we worked on actually the other day in class, and it's 3x minus 5 equals 7x minus 17. Now you can also read that as 3x negative 5 equals 7x and negative 17. Okay, both mean the same thing, and we're still going to figure it out the same way. So the first goal is to get rid of the variable on the right, because remember, all my variables need to go to the left. And remember, my variable is anything that has a letter, okay? A letter or symbol. All right, they could put a smiley face next to this number. That's a variable, all right? It's a symbol, something that's unknown. We don't know what it is, so it's a variable. All right, so what am I going to do first? I need to get rid of this 7x. So I have a positive. I'm starting with a positive. So I need to subtract or add the negative. So I add the negative 7. I have $7. I lose $7. I have no money now. Okay, so that is going to cancel out. All right, we don't say 0 just because it can get confusing, but we say it cancels it out. All right, so I'm even. I got nothing. Okay, so what you need to do though is we did it on this side, right? We did it on the right hand side. I have to do the same thing on the left hand side. So I line it up underneath the 3x, not under the negative 5, okay? Because remember when we combined like terms, they have to have the same variable to be combined. And if they don't combine, all right? So that is a big one, all right? If they're not the same type of variable, they can't be combined. You can't just like make them go together. Okay, it's like oil and water. You just can't force them together. They're going to separate, okay? So these x's, they're friendly. They'll go together. All right, so I have positive 3x and a negative 7x. Well, my negatives are bigger. I owe you more money than I actually have. So negative 7, positive 3. I'm actually going to subtract here because I have a negative number. So 7, 6, 5, 4. So my answer is going to be negative 4x. All right, so bring down that variable. All right, now see how I have this big equal sign here? All right, this is going to help you to keep your steps nice and clear, and I would highly, highly recommend that you do that. It's going to help you stay organized. Okay, so do it. Just do it. Okay, so now you want to bring down everything that you haven't dealt with. All right, Your 7x, done, dealt with, gone. All right, so you have 4x, negative 4x, you have a negative 5, your equal sign, and you have negative 17. That's the next thing you got to deal with, all right? So now, I have to get rid of this negative 5. Negative 5, I give you 5, we're even, right? So that cancels out. I do it to the left side of the equal sign. I have to do it to the right side of the equal sign. So I'm going to do the same thing. Negative 17, positive 5. What do I have? It's actually going to be subtraction because I have a higher number of negative, right? Negative and positive, I'm actually subtracting. So I have negative 12. Again, bring down everything you haven't dealt with. Okay, I know that a lot of you are going to want to just do the next step, like with that in that second step. Don't do it. Don't do it because you're going to get yourself all confused. Just don't do it. All right, so bring it down. I have negative 4x equals negative 12. Okay, so right now, this negative 4x, this is being multiplied. Okay, so I know that the inverse of multiplication is division. Whenever there is no operation between the number and the variable, or a number and like a parenthesis, it always means multiplication. Always. No questions. Always. Okay? So I have to divide. I divide by negative 4, and anything times itself is itself, right? So anything divided by itself is going to be 1. All right? So that cancels it out. All right? So because when we divide, we want it to be 1. We don't want it to be 0. Okay? 1. And a negative divided by a negative makes a positive. All right? So I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. So negative 12 divided by negative 4 is going to give me a positive 3. All right, because I know that 4 times 3 is 12. So, and a negative divided by a negative gives me a positive. So my final answer would be x is equal to 3. Now, over here, we have just a little couple of reminders here for you, which is I have the integer rules here. Obviously, well, the addition and subtraction ones might be helpful to you, but definitely the multiplication and division ones are going to be very helpful to you. This is also on an anchor chart that's in the classroom that Mr. Delastrato made, so you have this information available to you, but here it is again for you to utilize as you need it. And then a couple of other things that he told us today that I wanted to make sure you guys remembered was when you divide by a negative 1, all you're doing is flipping the sign. All right, so if you have a negative, you're flipping it to make it a positive. Okay, so just keep that in mind. All right, and then as I've been saying, as I've been working out the problem and talking you through it, when you subtract or add the opposite value of anything, either with or without a variable, you're canceling it out. All right, it cancels it out. And so I want you just to keep that in mind. Remember that it cancels it out. And I think that will be very helpful for you if you kind of go through these steps. Please, please, please try to write out your work in this manner. If you do this, I promise it's going to help you be organized, and it's going to help you to be able to solve it and see if you have a misstep a whole lot easier than if everything's just like crammed into like some little space. All right, that's all I got for you. So if you have any more questions, please let me know. Please let Mr. Delastrato know, and we're happy to help you. All right, bye guys.